come in for student drop-off there.
They're not supposed to.
They were. I happened to pick the wrong time of day to go take pictures.
They're really not. It is a service entrance, but okay.
Okay. Which I don't know if that will, within that area, over in this vicinity, the middle school does have an area where it's a bicycle corral that does have the chain link fence around it. And back along that service road, they do have a chain link fence along there that is set back from the road. When you get over on the education side of the property, most of the fence runs right along the roadway. The athletic field, they do have a secondary fence there. I don't know how far back it sits from the roadway, but it is one that is a secondary one there. And I'm not sure which schools use that section. I am really not familiar with the school campuses.
That's the high school.
That is the high school? Okay.
Where do they want to put them?
Well, they're kind of asking, which is nice because they never asked before, and they said, we have sovereign rule and we can do whatever we want. And we did convince them to move them back a little bit. But when we talked about the Sally Jones situation, I showed you pictures of Port Charlotte High where they're just up and down Murdoch Circle, haphazard. It looks terrible. It looks terrible, but they feel like they're allowed to do it. So,
Well, this is an ongoing problem.
Yes.
And when Terry discussed with me the fact that this request came in, I said, it's time to bring it to the city council for direction. Because I've been, over the years, debating with the attorney for the school board, suggesting that the language in the state statute as it relates to the exemption from the requirement to comply with the statewide building code is broad enough, in his opinion, to exempt them from our land development regulations, particularly our sign code. I strongly disagree with that. And I'm very comfortable with my opinion. I've written it a couple of times, and different Attorney General's opinions support that position. And so maybe this is coming to you today with respect to a particular request from a particular school. I don't know that we can even approve it for the one school and then be able to object to the other. So I think what we're asking is whether you would consider amending the ordinance to allow for signs for fundraising at schools. And that would eliminate 90% of the problems we have over the years. In that regulation, we could specify sign size. We can specify, proximity to a roadway to maintain their visibility, and some of the other non-specific, non-content-specific provisions that we're allowed to do. Or should we just simply maintain that they don't have the right to do it because it's a sign and we don't allow it in our code? And then keep fighting with them over whether we've got the authority over the school board's premises with respect to our sign code.
I don't know what the answer is because we don't allow digital signage, and they recently installed a new digital sign without asking or.
That is very true. And if you want to take some action against them with respect to that, I think that, we could support our position. But like I said, this advertising or fundraising sign is something that's very common, and we get this request on a regular basis over the years.
Nancy?
I think that the solution at Sally Jones of moving it back away from the road was, a good one. I've asked a number of residents, what do you think about this? And the residents all agree that they don't want to see the signs up against the road because it would just, we do a lot to make our community look good, and we don't want to look shabby. I don't know where they would put them, but it looks so nice, and then to just junk it up. but I couldn't support having ordinance that allowed them to just put them right on the roads.
Have you had any discussion with them about placement at all?
No, not with the school directly. Like I said, the request came through the resource officer for the school, and they had approached him with the question. So once I got the question, talking to Howard and the city attorney, they said, well, let's put it on for discussion, see where it goes before we go.
We very well may be able to work something out with the middle school like we did with the elementary school, having them put their fundraising signs back on some of the areas that Terry was talking about. That still doesn't resolve the long-term issue. Right now, they worked with us with Sally Jones. We can talk to them about the middle school. And we will do that per your direction. But do we also want to take it a step further and actually try and put something in our code? Although the school board attorney is probably going to tell our city attorney that doesn't really matter because they don't have to listen to our code.
I wouldn't be in favor of putting something in our code because like he said, we've already had discussions with one school about it, so we really don't have grounds to say, no, you can't.
Well, no, we have grounds to say, no, you can't, period. The question is, do you want to allow the signs at schools, or do you not want to allow the signs at schools? If you're going to allow signs at schools, then we need to put it in the ordinance. If you're not going to allow signs in schools, then we should keep a firm position. And if, bear in mind, the key here is whether it's legible from the public right-of-way or other properties. In one previous instance, I think it was the high school, they put it around the athletic field, so it wasn't any further visible from the public right-of-way. So we kind of won that skirmish. But, and maybe we can win this skirmish too by working with the school to have them take it away so we'll put it in an area that's not legible. But if they want to put it where it's legible, and typically that's what these schools do because it's an advertising thing, then we need to know whether we as the staff and city legal department need to know whether you want to fight it. And if you do, that's fine. Or if you don't want to fight it, then my suggestion would be then put it in the code.
Tom?
I am adamantly opposed to commercial signage on the school property, especially in light of the fact that we still hope to continue to finish our ring around the city and have bicycles be riding around the school grounds over there. I certainly wouldn't want them to be riding over there and looking at commercial signage. So that's how I feel about it.
Carolyn?
I agree with Tom.
I agree too. I mean, I don't have a problem with it being inside on the athletic field, if you will, but to be out on the road is an eyesore.
And now that, we're talking about areas, that's probably the area where they would want to put it on education, which would be right smack dab on the roadway.
I would think it's a safety issue. I mean, you're going to have people driving by and then trying to read a sign. I mean, that's very distracting to have that signage right there. I would, again, oppose it from a safety concern.
I would agree with you.
So would you
So
like us
no.
to sit down with the middle school, see if they can put that signage in, like we did with Sally Jones? or
We
no?
have no official request yet, as I understand.
Yes? Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
through the
Yes.
resource officer.
But Sally Jones, I mean, if we're going to say we don't want it, then we don't want it for Sally Jones either because it is legible from the right-of-way. Even setback, correct?
If it is legible from the public right-of-way or from other properties, then it is prohibited.
Well, that's where it is.
Well, I can see this.
I guess I look at it from a standpoint of, can we create a win-win? I don't like the look of it either, but if they can set it back, then, because if we don't create a win-win situation, they could then end up doing what they want to do anyway.
And then we have to decide how far we want to fight.
Exactly, so I'm thinking, trying
I
to
mean,
create a win-win is.
potentially though, Nancy, I see what you're saying, win-win, but potentially this whole entire fence line could be filled. And that's what's happened in Port Charlotte. So we may be okay with that right there, but the potential for it to become something that we're not okay with, I think is very great.
It just is, it goes against our land development
It does.
regulations.
Yeah.
That's why we have them.
So we're not supporting fundraising signs in schools.
As long as they're legible from the public right-of-way or other property.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that direction?
Is that the consensus?
Is that
What
the
are we gonna do
consensus?
about
There's
this?
mine.
What do we do about this?
Well, they're there.
Well, it's,
Grandfather?
no, it's a violation.
But
But
they're
we
there
told
for
them
how
we could
long
do it.
now? They're there for, what's the contract? Do we know the contract?
I think it's an annual contract, and they're into their new school year now.
And we didn't tell them they could do this, did we?
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yes, we did. We worked it out with them.
We did.
We did. We had that conversation. Yes, we did.
That's how you got them to move it off the road.
Yes.
But you have to, I think we have to look at this in a context that we're spending, we hopefully will be able to spend all of this money to finish creating a ring around the city. Do we want the people that are going to be enjoying that to see that kind of signage as they ride around? I don't.
The sponsors do.
So are you saying that we could amend it so that they are allowed, but with conditions?
Yes.
Well, maybe that's what we need to do.
Including, instead of saying that, with respect to schools, instead of saying whether it's legible from the right-of-way, just say it can't be any closer than X number of feet to a
Like
right-of-way.
here, maybe a suggestion, 50 feet.
Is that comply with 50 feet?
Yeah, this is approximately 50 feet.
Would that be a compromise that you could consider?
I,
No?
I could support that, only just, what I want, I would
50.
like to create a situation where we don't then cause them to just go do what they want to do anyway.
I think they need to do creative signs, more artistic, pleasing to the eye. If they're gonna hang them up.
should they come back for approval to city council for each sign? We'll be talking about signs.
I mean, if we allow this scenario here with the 50 feet setback, do we now have the grounds to go back and say, no, we don't want them at all?
No, I mean, if you can live with this, then the recommendation would be to amend the ordinance to require that the signage be at least 50 feet from the right-of-way
Just for schools.
for schools, yeah.
Okay, can we,
That's Murdoch Circle.
Yeah,
so, okay, so we don't want that.
No,
No,
we do not. want
no.
How many feet would that be from the right-of-way?
Those are right along Murdoch Circle in Port Charlotte. I took those this weekend.
So if, we can live with what we have, but
Now, when we do when we do the multi-use recreational trail along Cooper, we're also going to have some landscape as a multi-use recreational
that are gonna go in
trail.
front of the signs.
It will.
And truthfully, when I'm driving along there, I don't look at those signs. I'm focused on
How do
driving.
you not, I mean,
Well, no, I
I don't
see
read
it.
the names, but I just think, wow, that yeah, that's how it
I
looks.
see it,
Look
and it's
at,
ugly.
they're falling down.
And maybe they burnt the edges so they could say, oh, this is creative, because we made it look like an old scroll or something.
Yeah, they all have that, I noticed.
If you,
That's their creative.
if you ever need a definition of visual blight, I think
That's
That
it.
is.
I agree with you.
Okay,
mean, I
so
think
what
that
are
they
we gonna
have
do
to-
with the current situation and the fundraising signs with schools within the city? Are we gonna say we don't want them at all?
No more than 1, 3, 6, 7, no more than 9
No more than
Or
9 set?
signs. Or 10. Give them 10, 5.
You want us to come up with an ordinance and run it through our usual committees and come back
I mean,
to-
can't we really, I said it in jest, but can't they come up with something more creative that would be appealing and that would kind of fit into
That would be a request the city council would make to the school board.
Well, this sounds like it's some other outside company that the school board has contracted with, and they get a cut of the money.
Right, I mean, since we're in the infancy of this and we only have a few signs up, so we create signs that are interesting and more artistic.
Well, the city attorney said we can try to regulate the size. Maybe we want to regulate the size and tell them they have to be set back. I mean, maybe that's one solution. And can we limit the number, total number?
Yeah?
It'd
Maybe
be more
limit the total
valuable that
number,
way.
reduce the size, and set them back. Nancy?
What if these signs were only visible from their area where it's parent pickup? So that the signs are really just there where the parent pickup is? I think they want everybody to see
There's
these
no
signs,
fence
but,
in that area.
oh.
And every school is configured, I mean,
Yeah, they're all different. Some would be close to the road.
I think they should get creative.
Do we have enough council members to want us to give us a shot as to working on a ordinance, sitting down with the school district personnel and come up with some kind of an ordinance?
Carolyn, are you?
I'm just so anti-sign, particularly looking at these. I would be concerned that if it goes back 50 feet, that would be better, smaller, fewer.
So you're okay with them trying to come up with some language for us to consider? Okay. Tom?
Okay, I just have a question. If one of these schools were in the heart of Punta Gorda Isles or Burnstone Isles, what kind of reaction do you think we'd get if we allowed that?
Or downtown.
Or downtown?
And there are communities around these schools. Why do they have to look at these signage? I almost say, no signs. Think about their neighbors. Think about the safety of the people that are driving by.
Okay, so now, do you want to look at language or not?
No.
No. Tom?
No.
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 No. No. Okay. So we're not going to change our ordinance.
Okay.
So, how long ago did we did we administratively approve those things?
I believe it was towards the beginning of last school year.
So
I
there-
could go back and check my calendar to see when I was meeting with Jerry.
So
and-
we'll let Sally Jones know that when this contract runs out, not to renew it.
You're on, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we had that discussion
Yeah, I
about
mean, there
Sally.
are people living over there.
Yes, we did. We did.
We did.
Nobody wants that in their neighborhood.
Okay, now we're moving into city manager and city clerk evaluation.
The city manager's evaluation just went downhill after signing.
And the length of this meeting. You said it was going to be short.
Good morning, council. For the record, Phil Wickstrom, HR Manager, and I promise not to make it as contentious as the last issue. You can choose to do so, but I got nothing here. Each year, you do an evaluation of your two employees, which are the city manager and the city clerk. In years past, I believe this is the first time that you as a council have had to consider a recommendation for a pay increase. It's been 5 years, I think, since this has been an issue, and I don't think any of you were on the council at that point. Anyway, I submitted in the agenda packet a copy of each evaluation that you did for the city manager and the city clerk. For purposes of brevity, I'm going to just say you discuss each one individually and take action individually, but for purposes of my introduction, you're looking at the two employees. We have evaluations from each one of you on both. The city council, during the budget discussion, approved a 3% merit increase, depending on whether an employee met expectations or exceeded expectations. According to the evaluations you have submitted, your two employees met those criteria. From there, now it's a matter of you discussing how you would like to proceed. We will need, for purposes of finance, we'll need you to make a motion and approve through that process the pay increases that you recommend for your two employees. And with that, I'll let you get on with it.
Tom?
Yeah, Karen is not here. I propose that we put off her evaluation until when she is here, so we can have that conversation with her.
I definitely concur, because I haven't even had my sit-down with her yet, so I would feel much more comfortable if she was here and I had time to, go over my evaluation with her, so.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
I'm good with that.
Put it on the next agenda.
Next agenda.
Okay. with regard to Howard's evaluation, I mean, some of us here, I won't name initials, but they begin with KD, think that the city manager walks on water. I compliment you on the evaluation that you've been given by council. I think it's outstanding. And I would just like to read to everybody a portion of the treatment of merit increases that has been established by your staff. It says, department heads, managers, and supervisors may exercise limited discretion with respect to their own merit increase and allow a portion of their own increase to be applied as an additional merit increase for one or more of their employees, provided that the total does not exceed the value of the 3% merit increase that they would otherwise have accrued to themselves. I'm aware of at least one employee in the city obtaining a 5% merit increase by using this concept. I propose that Howard's pay increase be comparable to that of 5% wage increase, and if we have to take a portion of, or we may have to do that, take it out of council contingent. I propose that, I guess we should have opened this for discussion more, rather than me making a motion. Why don't we, please jump in here and.
Okay, I'll jump in. I see your basis for the percentage that you've come up with based on that. I guess this has been like a learning situation for us because we haven't been in this situation before to do the raises. And I just really had a real problem with that policy. I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me, and I questioned it, and I found out, yes, it's real. And I guess part of me just doesn't buy into the merit basis of that, because you're giving somebody, they're giving part of their raise to somebody else, and maybe it is partially based on merit, but it's also compounding their pay indefinitely. So I just have a real problem with that policy. I've never heard of anything such thing before, and I was very concerned that that's the way that we've decided that raises can be shared with others. I could see in a department if, let's just say the total 3% was budgeted, and some people didn't make the cut, so this person got 2 and that person got 4, because this person didn't make the cut and this person went above and beyond. But for a department director to be able to give, and obviously their percentage could be much higher. Their 1% of their pay is gonna be, like you said, 5, maybe 10% of somebody else's pay. And that's going into their salary for forever, as long as they're with the city. So I just have a problem with that policy. And I just wanna put that out there, that I just don't, it's not something that I agree with. As far as Howard is concerned, I know he's taken his lumps over the years. He gave up the city car. He's given up part of his vehicle allowance as cost-saving measures. So I think I could be in agreement with the 5%. Nancy?
I worked in the corporate world for a long time and have been a part of a situation where we didn't receive raises, but the CEO of the organization got bonuses, $1 million bonuses from the board, while we got nothing. And I feel that we need to be consistent, and that we should not be giving our city manager a raise that's really beyond what we're allowing the rest of the employees to have. I think that, the city manager's raise is going to be substantially more as far as dollars are concerned, but I think the 3% is where we need to be.
Any other thoughts?
I think I agree with Nancy. I mean, we have budgeted 3%, again, across the board. And in some cases, there probably are staff that are getting 4% because other people have not gotten, they've gotten their own merit increase, whereas it's just 3%. 3% as the top. So I would think that that would be fair. And looking at Howard's salary, it does bring him up to par, I believe, fairly as an average. Not that he doesn't deserve more.
Absolutely.
But all of our staff deserve more. So many of our staff are going above and beyond. So I guess I would agree with the 3%.
Kim?
I agree too, because I think that, not that it's our job to look at everyone's salaries, but I know that a while back, Phil did do some analysis for us, and I think we have a lot of employees here that are below, and even with Howard's 3%, he still will be below a little bit. So, and I don't like that. I do think Howard has done a great job. I've been here for a long time, and in these really economic trying times, to have accomplished all that we accomplished, I really attribute to Howard. Our plan, even the ring around the city, that was planned in the 80s. And in a hard time, that was part of the master plan that the city did. And so to bring, to work with all the different organizations, Team Punta Gorda, and to really bring this all to fruition is Howard's leadership. I really feel, strongly about that. We have a great city manager, but.
So what,
And I know that Howard doesn't want more than 3%,
so you're supporting the 3?
Yes.
Okay. So we have consensus. 3.
We really don't, based on the
We're
evaluation.
gonna vote, we're gonna have to vote eventually, so we're gonna need a motion from somebody. Can't be me.
I make a motion that we approve a 3% raise for Howard.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve a 3% raise for Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. 4-1. Did you vote?
Yes, I voted affirmatively.
You did? 4-1.
No, 5-1. 5-0. He voted yes.
I voted no.
Oh, you
Yeah,
voted no.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay,
4-1
well, maybe I'm gonna.
was the vote.
Thank you, and I'm glad that, you know what my feeling was about this.
Yes.
Howard was
I did
6'4"
bring
when
you a
he
lot
first
of
started
candy.
with the city.
I know.
I did bring you a lot of candy.
I know you did.
And I would agree with Kim, and I also think that the one-on-one discussions that I've had with Howard, it's very receptive to creative ideas and input. So it's been a good process.
And we've had a lot of firsts this year, in all the things that we have accomplished. And again, thanks to Howard's.
Thanks for keeping it no more than the 3.
Phil's back.
For the record, Phil Wickstrom again. Just one housekeeping issue, and that is that we have already processed payroll for all the other employees. So I would need you to agree to make his pay increase retroactive back to the beginning of the pay period that we just processed the payroll for. You missed it by 28 minutes.
I'll amend the motion.
Second.
So we have amended the motion. All in favor of amending the motion, correct?
Making the pay retroactive.
Yes.
To what, to when?
Be
30 minutes
retroactive
ago.
to, I think, 29th, September 29th.
Thank you.
So I'm just voting to amend the motion to make it retroactive.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so city clerk will be on the next agenda, which we just discussed, and now recommendation from city officers.
I've sent out a draft memo that I will finalize regarding the,
Hold on one second. Can we just note that we don't need the city clerk's evaluation reprinted for our next agenda item? We
Okay.
can just reuse the paper that we have.
Okay. Good
Okay.
point.
Yes.
Good point.
Sorry.
okay, you have a draft memorandum of understanding response regarding our negotiations with the Water Authority in Charlotte County and Southwest Florida Water Management District about the RO plan. I've incorporated comments from various folks. My recommendation is that we put it on the next council agenda, unless you want to discuss it right now, but put it on the next council agenda as an agenda item so that we can respond to Swift Mud and the Water Authority regarding what, to the proposal. The Water Authority is actually meeting now, which we can never attend those meetings, it seems like, because they meet when council meets. And they're
Did they
getting.
change that?
Hmm?
Did they change that date?
No? We were able to go to a last Water Authority meeting because somehow we didn't have a council meeting that day. I don't know what happened. So they're going to talk about the process at the Water Authority Board meeting, and we need to respond to them. We can take some more comments today, but since we didn't have it on the agenda, I would like to put it on the next council agenda so we can formally craft our response based on this memorandum.
So this is just a draft. You have not sent this, correct?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm done. We need to get it in front of council and have a response.
I think what you have here, I'm in line with it. I don't, Carolyn?
Well, first of all, I want to applaud Howard and staff for putting this together, because I think it makes it makes our case as strong as ever. On the, I guess it's page 3, see, 1, 2, 3, the third paragraph, where it says, if the council were to accept the authority's proposal, it may be difficult to explain to ratepayers that the city has selected an option which is not the most cost-effective and does not solve the entire problem. And I would like to recommend maybe changing that language to, from it may be difficult to explain to ratepayers, it will be impossible to explain to ratepayers that we're going to charge more than we needed to. I mean, to me, that was, again, it's impossible for us to do that for our residents and commercial users. And then the other thing is, I like compromise too, but if we were going to make any kind of contribution to the Phase 1 pipeline, I would think it should be equal to what the other authority members are contributing. And that would be basically 5%, because the SWIFT would be paying half, well, we would be paying 1/5, not 5%, 1/5 of the cost if we were to do that. And, but that's where I would be coming from. So that we, again, as partners, they would have to, again, similarly contribute. And that we would not be contributing any more than each of them.
And I think that's a good target, but to put ourselves in that box, in that number, it's not, it's still in this range. Do you want to change the 25% to 20? I mean, okay, in the equal amount to 5%. Where'd you get the 5%?
It's 1/5.
It's actually 25%. We're asking that SWIFT pay 50%.
Right.
Right,
And there's the other half.
right?
Where's that come from?
That should-
Well, there's 4 Water Authority Board communities, we would be a fifth. So
That's
So
why
we
I'm
each
coming
would
to
pay a
the
fifth.
1/5.
Okay,
our share would be
Of the-
equal to the other 4.
I like that.
Equal to amount of 5%, 25%.
It should have said,
20%.
A
it-
fifth.
it's-
Yeah, it should be 20%. It should be 20%. I thought you were saying anywhere from 5% to 25%, but that's not what you're saying.
A fifth of
You're
the
saying the
cost.
same amount as, be treated as an equal partner with the 4 other entities.
Correct.
Let's say that. I'm okay with that.
Which could be 20%.
Ready? Help me understand something. The value of compromise 1 and 2 are different, are they not?
well, if you consider, if we contributed half of what the Water Authority was going to have to contribute, that's about the same as Compromise 1, roughly.
Okay.
So then we'd be a 50-50 partner with the Water Authority.
Yes.
And why should we be paying more than the individual
That's
counties?
my point.
So
I
I,
think the
like to-
values should be equal. The value of compromise 1 and compromise 2 should be equal. I mean, it's,
and,
because it's.
excuse me, I'm sorry. I was just thinking that the timing, again, the pipeline would not be finished anyway for 2 years. So then we should be almost ready then to go into our pipeline. And why would we then choose to, again, purchase water annually for a period of, well, not to exceed 3 years? But I don't want their water.
I mean, I think that still should be on the table because it's obvious that they want us to become a water authority customer. I mean, I still like the lump sum payment myself. I'm in line with that more than I am compromise one. But I think, we're being cooperative partners in the spirit of cooperation. We should leave it on the table for discussion.
But I just think the values of 1 and 2 should be the same and not different, because that gives them the opportunity to take whatever is more advantageous to them, if they choose to go that route.
Perhaps we should say not to exceed whatever that 20%
Ends up being,
ends up being.
Okay.
You okay
Would
with
that-
I
that?
would be
Would that-
okay with that.
I mean, if we're going to be partners, we should be share.
Yes,
Yes.
So an amount equal to the other 4 members.
yes. We should be treated as a fifth member, fifth partner.
I will revise the
Same as the
memo.
members.
I will revise it accordingly. And on compromise 1, do you want me to include that to make sure that the amount is the same as compromise 2?
Yes.
That's what Tom suggested. I think that's a good suggestion.
And the letters have already gone out to the chair of the Manatee, DeSoto, Sarasota, and Charlotte County Commissioners, the chair, asking, hey, do they want the pipeline and how much they will participate?
Whoever came up with that, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
That was our lobbyist.
Okay. That's what we pay him for.
There you go. I have nothing else.
And so, will this be on the next
No.
agenda? So we don't need it on the next agenda?
No.
Well, yeah,
This is-
send it off.
This is sending it off.
Great, thank you.
Good effort.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
City attorney,
Nothing further, thank you.
city clerk.
Okay, under vacancies, we have a 3-year term for an alternate member on the Historic Preservation Advisory Board. Also under vacancies, we have 2 regular 3-year terms on the Historic Preservation Advisory Board. Under nominations, we have an unexpired term on the Code Enforcement Board. We have 6 interested parties. If you'd
Wow.
like to nominate them.
Nominate all.
Also under nominations, we have an unexpired term as an alternate on the Board of Zoning Appeals. Mr. Thomas Langauer has expressed an interest in serving and is the only nominee. If you'd like to nominate and appoint at this time, you may do so.
Nominate and appoint Mr.
Second.
Lauer.
We're nominating and appointing Mr. Thomas Langauer to BZA,
Board of
BZA.
Zoning Appeals
Yep.
alternate.
alternate.
Uh-huh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Last, under nominations, we have a 3-year term. Those
Do
are
we get the
all
whole packet?
paper clipped. Right, each get a packet. Nominations, we have a 3-year term on the Punta Gorda Isles Canal Advisory Committee. We have 3 interested parties, if you would like to nominate all.
This is code enforcement on the Marine Advisory Committee. We have the wrong names.
You haven't gotten down there
We
yet.
haven't gotten
there.
Still
Oh, okay.
at
Do one at a
Nominate
time.
all.
B3.
We're on B3.
Nominate all.
Okay, so we're nominating,
I'm
for the PGI Canal Advisory, we're nominating, we're not appointing.
Correct.
So we're nominating
Just
all.
nominating for
Yep.
PGI.
Okay.
Now, we
And
just
now we're
need
getting to
one,
appointments.
we just need one for code enforcement, right? Oh, wait a second.
We
Okay,
haven't gotten there yet.
got it.
We're there now, we're at code
We are
enforcement.
at code enforcement now. Under appointments, we have a 3-year term on the Code Enforcement Board, and voting forms have been distributed.
Okay, we're gonna do that one right now.
See, I don't see on this form, we have Trudy Baxter is also interested in serving, and her name is not on this.
Wait
On
a
the form.
second.
Okay. Do we
Code
know-
enforcement, the
That,
names that are on
yes.
here are not the names that are on here.
I think we just nominated those people.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, code enforcement, I think they just included Trudy Baxter. We just nominated Trudy Baxter, William Ambrose, Joseph Delacorte, Vincent Lanza, Dennis O'Brien, and Jim Stevens. We just nominated them for the next open seat. So I don't think Trudy, I don't know if Trudy's name,
okay. Is that true?
I'm sorry.
Is that right?
I don't know if Trudy's name should be on the agenda, that agenda item, because her name is not on the voting form.
Okay, I'm sorry. Which,
Well, neither is
Perhaps I-
some of these
perhaps
other
I-
people.
Well, they
Put it
just
out.
got nominated
Okay. For
for the next
for the
seat.
next seat, okay.
So we have resumes from, oh, her resume's in here, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Her
saying.
resume is in this item.
okay, I may have printed those forms.
Jim Stevens, Trudy
Go ahead
Baxter.
and look at the
Like
resumes
in
that
our,
are
like,
attached
yeah,
as opposed to
because
the
even
forms.
our marine advisory, it says Herman Novak, and he's the one that's leaving.
Okay, I probably printed incorrect forms.
That's okay.
You want to defer this until the next meeting? Make it,
Sure.
Sure.
Out of,
I
Yeah.
think that would be appropriate.
yeah, I
Yes.
apologize.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna defer that one. All of these?
All of them, yeah.
Okay.
Because our marine advisory doesn't have our guy.
Yeah, when do
Well,
they?
we really only
when do they
have
meet?
one guy for, oh, no, we
No,
have
we
two
have two.
guys
We have
for
two.
marine advisory, and they're not on this.
Same
Meets
thing
the
for
second
police.
Thursday
We
of
can
every
wait for the
month.
real clerk to.
So they won't, that person won't miss a meeting because it's the second Thursday of every month. So they've already had their October meeting, so we'll still be in line to get somebody appointed for November. No problem. Better be.
Okay.
What about police officer pension? We only had 2 names for that. That I'm sure of.
But they're not the
I think
same.
I'm sure. They're not on the form?
Well,
The names
Mr.
aren't on here.
Cornell is, but.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
na-
I
the
did, I
names
just,
are not
I
the same.
printed the forms out prior to, I thought the forms were ready, and
Okay.
I didn't change them.
All right.
Let's put it off.
Yes.
Let's put the whole thing off.
Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay.
No worries. It's all good.
Okay, policy and legislation. I just have a comment because I've been asked by some people, and this is a conversation we can only have in a public meeting. So I would just like to say thank you for having faith in me to be your mayor for this last year, and I'm willing to do it again if you so choose next month. So just to clear up any questions that you might have. So that's it. And council member comments, Nancy.
Yesterday, I served my first experience with the canvassing board for the general election, and I'll have to say, I learned a lot, and our voting process is unbelievably ethical. The way that the supervisor of elections counts for everything, it's incredible. But I would want to encourage everyone to vote, and if you have an absentee ballot, please vote, because it's a privilege, and for us, that we have to do this. So just get out there and vote, because by the next time we meet, the election will have passed, so.
And you'll really get to know those. I mean, I was only there for a short time with,
Yes.
with your election.
I have-
They're really, really great people over there in that office.
I have 4 days coming up where we will be counting the absentee ballots, and the whole entire day and night of the elections. So it's quite a process that they go through, and with checks and balances and locking things up and making sure everything is under lock and key, and then putting.
Checking the numbers.
Oh, and
the-
putting tape over things, and so that you can't even put a key in something to unlock something, and when they pull the tape off, if you were to think, well, somebody could pull that tape off and put it back on, when they pull the tape off, it has a special ink that void is written all over the tape, so it's incredible. So they can tell if somebody's tried to tamper with things, so it's an amazing
Secured.
process. What?
Very, very secure.
Very secure, yes, so.
Okay.
Nothing, thank you.
Tom?
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, I again would like to thank Howard for a spectacular year, and thank you for your service. I would like to just remind everybody again, and we probably, Carolyn might bring it up, is the local options sales tax, whatever opportunities we have to be out there and encourage it. I dread the thought of starting to work on next year's budget without the benefit of that tax being in place, so that's all.
Well, I probably ditto what Thomas says, and again, thank you, Howard. And again, it has been an incredible year, definitely, and you've done a good job.
Thank you.
I just wanted to kind of update on the MPO. I know I sent this out to council members, but we do have good news. Our request for the median openings on US 41 for no left turn signage has been approved, and that's for West Henry, Palm Auto Chevrolet, and Phil's 41. So that was done. Regulations will be drafted and signs installed October 16th. It should be the installation on that. FDOT District Secretary Billy Hadaway will look into our issue on banners. He would prefer that those things don't come up before the MPO, but it got his attention, so. With regards to the bridge cleaning, FDOT wants data on where the debris is coming from. They found that in some other situation, they found that garbage trucks things were coming off the garbage trucks. Well, I don't think that's the case for ours. I mean, every time I go over that bridge, I'm looking at what's on there, and there are pieces and bits of, I don't know whether it's little metal or tires or what it is, but must be some way where we can log in, and maybe through our bicycle committee.
We're going to start filming.
Ah, okay.
We have, our Public Works folks have been out there filming our roads, the condition of our roads, and we're going to take the two bridges, and we're going to film it.
How
Periodically.
about we get this street sweeper to suck everything up into a big pile, and then we go to one location, we just keep dumping it there so then they can go see. I've seen coolers and shoes and,
Well, if we also have some reports from people, and I'm thinking through our weekly report, that we might also ask people if they find things or see things on the bridge to at least,
Take a picture?
take a picture
Yeah.
would be good.
Well, that'd be
and-
hard to
and they-
take a picture if they're driving.
That's true.
Yeah,
But
don't
they-
recommend
Yeah,
that
right, we
because
don't
they
want to do
will.
that. But like, the day and the time,
Yeah,
if they
really.
could just, when they get back home or whatever, to let us know
The
that.
walkers,
and even
And
our
the
police
walkers,
department, because
our
they
police-
travel the bridges, they can take notes too. That would
And
be-
walkers, bicyclists, definitely. When I had mentioned that there have been several people who have had flattened tires, and, and Billy Hadaway is a bicyclist. I mean, he goes like 30 miles, I guess, every weekend or whatever. So he understands that. He says, I carry an extra tube, for my tires. Well, our people don't necessarily do that. So that was one of the things. They really wanted to get some kind of information. They will not allow signage there, which is interesting because they do have signs on 75. But anyway, but in the meantime, Chris Constance has suggested that Charlotte County and Punta Gorda share in the $4,400 cost for the additional cleaning. So that would be $2,200 from the city to do that. And that might come up on another future council meeting. Now, again, he had suggested that from MPO. That did not come from the commission itself.
That's when we should ask them to light up the event center at the same time.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Very good. There's no headway on any additional signage on I-75. If you recall, we were asking if we could have additional signs that say, Punta Gorda, next 3 exits. Well, they're now looking at all their signage, and they're taking them down, supposedly. They also, when we had suggested Punta Gorda and the beaches or something like that, Inglewood Beach, and they wanted so that if people got off at that exit, that they would be there within 10 miles. And so since the beach is further, they will not do that either. So it has to be that 10 mile is their ruling. He did give, Billy Hadaway did give an excellent presentation on the statewide bicycle pedestrian safety initiative, and that is on the MPO website. I believe we also incorporated it on ours. really an excellent presentation that he did. And if there's some time that perhaps he or maybe one of his staff could do it for us, I think you would be very impressed in terms of what we're doing in the state of Florida to assure, and it's not just the bicycles, it's roundabouts, it's all kinds of different kinds of striping and looking at cities and streetways in different ways. So they will be working with any of the new developers and putting those kinds of things into regulation so that that everyone will be encouraged to use it. So it'll look good.
I did attend that meeting, and it seems that the state is becoming very proactive with regard to bicycles in the state, and that's a really good thing.
It is a
The
really
state of Florida has been, had one of the states with the most fatalities. And so there is, yeah, a concerted effort to reduce that.
Right. So, but it was a good presentation.
And it's,
Where is it on our website? Just, okay.
I
I'll
believe
try
we
to
put it
find
on our website.
Okay.
But again, what you'll see is a PowerPoint, and the PowerPoint doesn't go into the real details of it, so it might be nice to have a presentation.
Do they videotape those meetings? Are they available on the?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so it would be on the CCTV for people that
Yes.
want to watch it,
That's a good point.
yes.
Yeah.
So the presentation, yeah,
Right,
along with the PowerPoint. Anything else?
that's it for me. Thank you.
Citizens' comments, please come to the podium, state your name, you have 3 minutes. Any citizens would like to comment? Seeing none, we are adjourned. We didn't make the 11 o'clock time.